Hi, I'm Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv, where every day, I have to tell Claris this every day. They're like, really mean every day? I'm like, yeah, every day. So every day is a great day to learn about the FileMaker platform, about making great solutions. In between us doing live shows here at 1 o'clock Pacific time every day, and whatever time it is for you, some of you it's end of the day, I want to talk about the upcoming broadcast schedule. Today's going to be another awesome day. I'm going to press the live button right here. Today is day 2 of BOMs. If you want to support the channel while it's all free, while we have lots of fun, there is a lot of good education that's going on. People getting educated, right? So while the education is going on, you can support the channel so Calvin can be paid. We all greatly appreciate that. Purchase one of the training bundles. Go to fmtrain.tv at the top. This is the bundles. This is where you go to support the channel. Even if you are the smartest person, like if you're Todd Geis, you're the smartest guy in the world, buy a bundle to support the channel, Todd Geis. Please do that. Thank you very much. So with that in mind, I'm going to do a quick pivot here. So yesterday we had a little bit of an incident. It was my fault. So Calvin, let me work through this, and once I get through this, and we'll pick up from yesterday tomorrow. So we'll pick up from where we were yesterday on the bomb conversation. So real quick, I built this demo, and the issue, what I wanted to do with this demo is we were using FileMaker in a way that I almost never, ever use it, and it caused my head to kind of explode, and I was trying to figure out what the hell we were doing, right? This is the file here. These are windows of the same file. There's 3 tables in the file, A, B, and C. So here's my tables right here, A, B, and C. This is the same thing we had from yesterday. If some of you weren't here yesterday, then this will be somewhat new for you, but it's pretty basic. So every layout is attached to a table occurrence. This table occurrence happens to be attached to table A. So the layout there, attached to A, then there's B, and then there's C. So this is like if you had an invoice and an invoice line items, or an estimate and estimate line items, or a family person, and this is the family members that belong to that family last name or surname or whatever you're doing. So that's just kind of idea. And what was weird about it is I did this diagram, and you'll see it momentarily on our bill of materials database. And I had a fourth one here, which just continued the idea, and that I was on this screen over here. I'm going to hit escape over here. In fact, I'm going to take Calvin and minimize him a little bit smaller, maybe down here out of the way next to me. I'm going to hit OK, so that nothing changes. So this color coding applies over here. So the blue is this data here. The purple is this data here. So the parent record, this is a company, Fred Smith Incorporated. Okay, there's Fred Smith Incorporated, Smith Grocery. And so this is the B file. So we have Sacramento and Elk Grove. And then, actually, let me flip these around so they're appropriate. There we go, that way. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then here's 2, 3 over here. So Sacramento, Elk Grove. Then in Sacramento, it's the parent record for this, right, is B01. It's attached to A01. So this is A, the parent record. This is B, so it's in this B portal right here. And then C is attached to B. And what threw us off was that we were seeing all the C data. So if I see B01, that's Sacramento. So there are 2 zip codes that are part of Sacramento. There's actually quite a few zip codes in Sacramento. And so then if you had Elk Grove, right, over here, I could create a new record on this side right here, say new record. I could say the city zip is 98888, whatever. And I'm going to say that it belongs to Elk Grove, which is B02. So I say B02. And you would automate this, but I'm just showing the basic relationship. And what happens is that it doesn't show up, of course. What
you haven't committed the record yet.
Oh,
you selected the window but didn't commit.
There we go. Okay, that's why. Thank you. Calvin's keeping me out of trouble. So what happens is that in a structure like this, where this is related to this, and this is related to this, we almost never use it this way. It's why it screwed me up so badly yesterday. I was so confused about it, because it was a situation we don't use it that often, where you really want to see. In fact, my wife was I was all grumpy, and she was asking me why I was grumpy, and I was explaining to her what happened, and she said, well, explain to me. I said, well, imagine that you have a company like our system, our accounting system at RCC. There's Fred, here's his invoices, and here's all the time entries for all the invoices. Well, and I said, well, if I look at Fred, I would see all the invoices and all the time entries for all the invoices. She goes, that's totally worthless. I go, yes, because no one gives a about having the data organized that way. As a you might want to see the total dollar amount, but whenever you want to see the time entries or supporting documentation for a record, you always want to see the time entries for a specific invoice, right? If Ed Burkle does a fire inspection, or Hot Air Balloon Ken is setting up for a hot air balloon event where people come in, if they drill down, like this is Fred and this is his hot air balloon, they want to click the hot air balloon and see the data relevant to the hot air balloon, not all the data that's randomly loosely attached to Fred. It almost never, people say, well, that's valuable. Almost never do anyone use that. No one at BVA uses that at all. They want to drill down to see the nuts and bolts of a specific situation. You might have a total at the bottom, like we've had so many millions of dollars or so many thousands of dollars or whatever, hours of labor. That would make sense, a total. We kind of talked about that, but this situation's a little bit weird. So this is what screwed me up yesterday. And what it is that AO1 connects to AO1 over here, and these AO1, these AO1s here are connected, and then this B is what attaches to the B here, to the B over here. And so because AO1 attaches to both B1 and B2, it uses all these over here to connect to all these over here, right? And so it makes sense. It's just kind of a weird scenario, right? Because most of the time when I set up relationship, I set up AO1, locks into AO1. Over here, and here goes the balloons. I have no idea why balloons are going off. BO1 is over here, and we get all the Bs and all the B2s and so that's where that works. So let me close this real quick, and I'm going to open up in FileMaker over here. So here's a BOM 2024. This is on a hosted file. This is what we were working on yesterday, and what we wanted to do was like, so this is so what we had is this is a product, the headset. And then level one of the bill of materials is the components, the final set of components that make up the headset, right? And so what we determined that if you looked at the graphic over here, which is kind of export field contents, I say yes, automatically open file. What you have is some areas over here, like this section right here. If you look at that, that's a wire. These are specific plugs. They're different kinds of plugs. That's a different plug with a rubber gasket, a strain relief thing on here. So this is an assembly, a sub-assembly. Brooks, was it Brooks, Margaret? Brooks?
Brooks is also here. So.
Yeah, Brooks is also here. So he's doing the furniture idea with manufactured furniture, but he would the manufacturing process of building a bed or a couch or something is there's XYZ people that make the wood frame, or they weld a metal frame or something like that. Then other people will apply padding and cushioning to it. Then other people will box it up. So this is a sub-assembly here. This is this right here. So 20 is a sub-assembly. 19 is a sub-assembly. Now this part that you see here is for end users, so we can order up. But if you went to David Clark and say, look at the details, 23 here would be broken down to 3 or 4 or 5 different parts. And 20 would have at least 2 or 3 different parts, and 21 and all these, they're sub-assemblies. So what we have is level 1. And in here we have the boom attachment assembly, and you see it right here. And so it happens to be boom 01. It's the primary key is record level 1, record 4. Okay. So L, this is level 1. That makes sense. And then the way we would normally do this, I took a screenshot of this over here and put it on here. But when I was doing this yesterday, this is the part that was confusing us, because we'd have the parent of the record, this is the headset, then level 1 of your bill of materials, then level 2. So we were just discussing this. And I drew this here to graphically kind of show you how they connect. You would never do it this way, right? Remember, the rules of building a layout are all about the idea that you have a layout, you attach it to the table occurrence that you want to, and then you add table occurrences to support what you want to do. And I put these all on here, and it kind of confused me, because we would never look at, I guess you would never most time look at every last screw in the way that this organizes it. What we would do is something down here where you're on the headset, and you have level 1, because you're always going to want to see at least the initial level. Then you would say, I want to build, I want to review the boom attachment, because the boom on my headset, like it's a David Clark headset, looks a lot like this. This boom thing over here is flopping around. It's not tight. It keeps cutting in and out. we've made a million of these things that the return numbers are really big, a tech support, the warranty returns. We need to review this. So we would say, let's review it. So we hit the button right here. It takes the value out of here. It sticks it into a global. So what happens is in the relationship diagram, I'm on a layout for this. This is there for us to understand, but really if you were building the database, you wouldn't put these here. They would not be here, okay? You would get rid of those, gone. And you'd have level 1 that you see all the time, which is connected directly. If you look at this right here, hang on, I screwed that up. 1 second. Oh, I'm gonna hit cancel. I would get rid of these right here, okay? You have level 1, right? And then this is the one that is connected all the time that you always see. And then to display level 2, we attach level 2 with a global field. And this item right here, so Calvin can see it. It's a long story how he does that. It doesn't really matter. The essential part is that you're on this portal, you press a button. When you press a button, the script sets this global right here. So it activates the portal for level 2, but it activates it for one specific set of items, right? So the items that are specific to this group of level 1. Show me all the subcomponents of level 1. Well, subcomponents of level 1 would be in level 2. They might be in other levels below that, but for sure they're in level 2. Does that make sense? Let's say cancel. I'm going to say discard. And so level. So
one thing to point out with that is a lot of times when somebody's beginning with FileMaker, they're going to build those relationships that way because they think of relationships like a flow chart, and relationships are not a flow chart. It's more of the structure to support a layout. And so I was working with somebody one time and they were asking, why don't my relationships work in this? And it's, well, you are building it in a way that makes sense for a flow chart, but this isn't a flow chart.
It's not a flow chart, right? So once again, the fundamental rules are that a layout belongs to a TO. You start with that, what I would call a butt naked layout and a butt naked TO. And then as you start to drop, like I want to see all the level 1 things on here, which makes sense. I want to see the photos, the pictures, the containers, the name of it, and I want to see all the parts that make up level 1. Then I want to be able to drill down and see individual parts of these over here. So I press this sets a global here, and that displays really a subset in level 2, right? So really what this says is level 2. These are specific items in level 2, right? It's not all level 2, right? So if I go to browse mode, I'm going to select this item here. It's going to grab this number here, stick it in here. It'll populate the title here, so we're clear on the title. Then this portal will activate and update. 1, 2, 3, click. Okay, so it took, and he made it bold too. Very nice. So that helps us understand which one we're looking at down here, right? So that now we're seeing these sub items that belong to this one here, or I can select this one and see sub items that belong to this one. Okay, then Calvin, what we're going to do, and Calvin, do you want me to do it or do you want to show it? Because we're going to, there's a conversation of extending this, right, to level 3 with the same design. So now you're down here in level 2, and I want to drill down and see the parts that make up level 2. So when we're talking to Brooks, who was doing if you want to work on this, Calvin, you want to do it real quick?
Yeah.
I'll talk. Sure. All right, so you just do it. The short version is that Brooks in his furniture manufacturing was at least 4 levels. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing. Calvin can share.
We have a kind of question.
Kind of question. Okay. It's phrased. It's kind of a question.
Yes. Does it just happen to have itself in it? The boom attachment kit has a boom attachment kit in its level 2? Question mark.
Let's take a look at this question and we'll go back to Calvin. So I'll throw the bomb back to Calvin. So I have boom attachment kit. Then I have the kit boom assembly attachment. I think these have to do with the diagram. I took them right off the diagram. Oh, I don't have the other part of this from David Clark. This piece here was a subassembly. This piece here was a subassembly. This is a subassembly. And they actually considered these two things a kit in themselves because it's an O-ring and a piece of foam. And as dumb as that seems, those are two separate items. The O-rings are probably made in mass not for David Clark. They're probably a generic O-ring out of some car part or something that happens to fit the diameter, the thickness, the parts of the rubber that are really happy and will last a long time, fit what David Clark needed. So they buy that probably as a commodity. They probably buy 1 million at a time. They probably buy, those are probably custom made for David Clark, the little foam components. They might even pour those themselves. So the question is Mark, if you want to repeat the question, how come if I'm here?
It's just asking, like, there's a boom attachment kit, but if you select the boom attachment kit, there's a boom attachment kit inside of the boom attachment kit.
We might have put that data in there like that. Let me just, that is a point of confusion that I will admit to being a point of confusion that we should probably fix. Let me just do this real quick. I'm going to get rid of the top nav. I'm going to make this smaller so we can kind of see what's going on. I go back to browse mode. So this is level 1. So then level 1, we go down to record 4, which is the kit boom assembly with attachment. Okay, so that's in there. And then I can go down to, if I pop another, I'm going to make this smaller. So that's level 2. That's a list view of level 2. New window. I'm going to go to level 2. It's a different table, different layout. I'm going to get rid of the top nav because you don't need it. I'm going to move this up here. Go to browse mode. Tell it to display as a list. Says yes, save the changes. So then if we go over here to the data, we were looking at LO4. So it's all the level 2 items that belong to LO4. So there's LO5. LO4 is right here.
Yep, it's so the boom attachment kit is attached to
Yeah,
LO4.
so the record was put in there twice because we're stupid. So that shouldn't be there, right, realistically. I should delete that out of here. And then what we would do is you would create, I would say, spring for whatever type is raw material, something like that. And then we would say it's level 2, item 13, but it would belong to level 1, and it would be L1
04, I think.
04, right? Is that what it has? Right? We have a spring here. So if I come over here and I select this one right here, then we get the spring, and you could.
Yeah, there you go.
That makes more sense. So yeah, you're correct, absolutely correct in that, and that's why I like comments and feedback. So yesterday, I got a little confused. Which is why I put this diagram on here, once again, explain that this is a kind of a mental flow chart right here, these items here. You wouldn't build, remember the rules of building a relation graph. You have a layout that's empty, goes to a TO that has nothing on it. Then you build out the items you needed. And to make this work, we needed this one right here, which talks to this level 1. Then we have a select process. And that selection will display level 2. So this little bit right here is driven by, it's not really well labeled, this one right here, and then there's one more below. So there's really 3 of them here. A level 1, kind of everything, a level 1 with a global, and a level 2 with a global, okay? Once again, I think Calvin's over here building away. Calvin, do we want to switch to you now again?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, go ahead and transfer command to your computer. Perfect, all right.
Okay.
So the idea is that I'm going to state the mission again. We're on the headphone. We want to see the boom attachment or something, and then we see level 2. But then we want to see that there's a COM cord kit. What is in the COM cord kit, right? And I can tell you that there's 2 different kinds of plugs. Those they're for general aviation. There's I don't know the numbers. There's a fatter one, a thinner one, so you don't get them mixed up. One's for your microphone. One is for your one's microphone. One's for your ears, right? So yeah, fat plugs, thin plug, right? So there you go. So the idea is that Calvin selected off of level 1 to show level 2. Then he could drill down below into level 3. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, and so what's going on here is we're just using different selection relationships. So here we've got the level 1 that we're using to show the name of the selected one, level 2 to show the portal, level 3 to show the third portal, and here's our selections, the global fields that hold those IDs.
Okay. So that way we can drill directly down to those related records without going through, because as we go through everything, because we want to filter. We want to forcibly filter specific C things and C specific ideas and things like that. So does that make sense what we just did, everyone? Margaret, questions?
It makes sense to me. I'm looking to see if people are like confused, if they're following along. No,
Because it's only going to get worse from here. So if they're
there's
confused,
a lot
they
of
really
people
need.
watching.
Okay.
So
All right, so let me back out for a second here. I'm going to key this up. So Calvin, why don't you quit sharing briefly here? I'm going to pivot forward into the next stage here. So this is the solution we have right now, okay? Here's the issue that people, some of you are more sophisticated developers. You're like, well, we've got a BOM parent, which is the main product, and then we have these levels that make it up. Well, as a professional developer with high levels of professionalism and brilliance and all that sort of thing, I'm not making fun of any of you, but there are people who will do that to me. They tell me how great they are. They would say, well, we should just use one level. What do you mean one level? We're going to stick all the levels in one table. Now, the interesting part is that let's talk about how this would probably manifest itself. So say I build this out for Brooks, and he's putting a chair or couch or something in here. And he says, well, if I come over here, I have level 1 here, but what if I have level 2 and I want to duplicate it? I want to take level 2 and I want to duplicate it for something else. That makes sense. But what if I want to duplicate it and change the level it belongs to? Right? What if I want to take it out of here and move it up under level 1? Well, to move it is quite simple. Remember the rules about the mechanical thought process scripting. If someone tells you to do that, can you walk them through the phone and have them do it? Well, click over here, okay? Okay, copy the data over here, then come up here and paste the data. Okay, so we're copy, paste, okay, copy, paste, okay? And so you're like, so we did that. So you could script this, but you're moving data from one table to another table. Nothing wrong with that. But a more sophisticated developer who does this professionally all day will say, can I do it with one table? And you're like, what the hell? So Calvin, do we want to have you, now that I've teed this up, do you want to start with basically we want to copy this one table, start from this one table, and then build it out. And we're going to build the same thing, level 1, level 2 with a selector, level 3 with a selector. But we're using different table occurrences, but the same underlying levels table, right? Are you prepared for that, Calvin?
Sure.
All right, so Calvin's going to share a screen. He didn't know this was coming today, okay? So Calvin was not prepared in advance. He can get rid of that if he wants. Yeah, go ahead and close that. And Calvin is thinking about, it's almost be better to build it as a new file, right? Kind of thing, right? If you want to do that, I'm good with that.
Okay, let's do that. So
You want to just
we'll just say create new.
Okay, create blank. So we need, this will be
say-
a BOM with one way. Yeah, that's fine. Great.
And I'm just going to delete
Yeah,
these.
I do the same thing.
ID BOM.
Okay, that's your primary key, I assume. He put 2 underscores at the beginning.
Yep, yeah, and that just helps me see it. So, and we'll call this one, or we got to put our.
See, this is what happens when you have a senior engineer. He starts doing complicated shit. Everyone's like, what the hell is that UUID?
Okay, and I'm just going to call this one line items because that's what they are. And here will be.
Yeah, they're BOM levels, but yes, that's fine. Line items could be also considered a line item. Okay.
Okay, let's just delete these.
Okay.
And we'll give this just a name.
That's the name of the product, yeah.
Oh, well, item, and we're going to put an F on this for foreign.
That'd be a BOM foreign, right? BOM foreign.
Well, it's actually the line.
Oh yeah, because you well, yeah, and you also need a level in there too, right?
I don't think we do. We'll try. We'll see how it goes.
The problem is that while you technically might not need it from a programming standpoint, you're going to want people to be able to visualize this.
Okay. Well,
we're not going to mix them on the same portal. We're going to filter them, right?
line.
We
we
have a
go.
question.
Okay, let's just do me a favor just for now, Calvin. Change it to level.
Yeah.
So just I understand what you're doing, but change the name to level so people are. If you change the terminology, then no one's going to follow this conversation.
Okay.
Just change it to
Oh,
level.
I'm sorry, level. That's
Yeah.
I meant to put level in there. Change.
Yeah, well, these are level, and then the idea of the level and the primary and level. It's all level, because otherwise, if I let you change too much, then the newer people are gonna minds are gonna explode. So while Calvin fixes this, what's the question?
Question is, what, if any, would you gain by having it all in one level? Maybe speed, but I think could be better organized and understandable with multiple levels.
I agree. That's why I built it the way it did. But it's like if I went out and I totally agree for new people, and a lot of you are maybe you don't do this all day every day, right? Most of us don't do this all day every day. We do other jobs too. If it was building it for myself, I would separate into different levels, like level 1, 2, 3, 4. However, this is an interesting exercise because you'll see how this works. Duplicating the records, if you had to duplicate them, remove a level on them. If duplicating them is one thing, but changing the where they belong would be simpler because you're not moving a record from table 1 to table 2, but you're just changing its specification, if that makes any sense, right? See what I'm saying? You're changing it. It doesn't move out of the table. You're in the same table, right? That makes sense? A little bit, maybe,
Yes.
kind of. So once again, there'll be, I could see you asking this question and it could be huge fights with really smart people arguing which way. Because I trained it the other way first, but this is an interesting conversation. And I could see it being useful. I mean, Brooks probably doesn't want to do this, but he could. Maybe his system is built that way. I just don't know. So this is the main BOM. So this is your headset.
Okay. Yeah, so here's the main bill of materials. Here's our level 1, and here's our level 2 that's selected. Here's our levels. Other levels table occurrence. Okay, let's try that.
What do we have?
So we've got our first one. We'll just put in name. So we're just going to say so this is going to be
Put headset. Put the headset.
headset.
Then we have like a, microphone.
Mic.
Yeah, assembly. Put assembly on there. That way you know it's a major component.
Assembly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you have
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, we can just actually let's put 2 in there.
Yeah, put 2 in there.
What was the next one?
Cable. It's a cord assembly. A cord assembly.
Cable.
Yeah, assembly. Perfect. Okay. Now
Okay, so
I
we got
want
2
to
in
press
there.
a button. Yep, and look at the sub assembly or level 2, right?
Yep. So let's do that. So now we have our selected one down here.
Okay.
You'll see nothing's there because we haven't selected anything.
Can you put the global there, make it visible like the other one, Calvin?
Yeah.
Because we want to keep it as close as possible to the previous demo so you can see the parallels in it. I'm not saying this is necessarily the best UI design. It just kind of makes sense to a degree.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll go. So we'll put our select button in there.
Yep. Now Calvin's going fast here, but you'll see the essential parts of this is going to be essentially the filter that he's going to drop in here. It's this part where you set field and how the relationship is set.
And then we want to do the main one, grab the primary key. And then I'm just going to hide this if there's no, so I'm putting a hide condition just because we have create record via relationship and I don't want to see select if there's nothing there. So you'll see here it's
yes, right. So just so everyone understands, the little blank box below, there's no third record below the cable assembly. You clicked in there, there's still no record. If he types in there and says, something right, dome, something like that, then it's a record, it gets selected there. So it's showing you the field below. If you double click and you have that add that checkbox right there enabled, right? So
right.
Okay,
so I just enabled it here. So now I can select. So selected one, and now let's go ahead and
do the mic. So that'll be the it's the M7 microphone or something. What they call that? It's a David Clark mic. And then you have the screws, right? Screws. and yeah, then maybe a boom or something. Boom. So
Boom.
so these are essential. Yeah. Okay. The boom. Yeah. Okay. That's the part that sticks out, right? So then. So this data, where's my dry tool? This data right here comes out of a table called, essentially a table should be called levels, right? This comes out of the same table. They both come out of the same table. So if you wanted to duplicate a record here or do other things with it, all you'd have to do is manipulate it within the same table. Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah.
And for mental clarity, I would probably, make sure that these were assigned level 1, something like that. If something was over here below level 1, I'd show it number 2, number 2, number 2. And then you could actually have a select over here, have it go to the next global like what we did, and have another portal, and it would show you essentially the level 3 items, right?
Yeah, we could do that. Let's go ahead. So
Okay,
I'll just
clean up my mess here. Stand by.
uh,
Questions, Margaret? People's brains is probably detonated.
I'll go
I'm really sorry
duplicate.
about that.
Just a comment from Brooks. Brooks mentions that he doesn't currently have levels, but he does have a table that is purchased parts, a table that is produced parts, and that he wants to build out subassemblies and then finished goods. But he's open to doing it either way.
Well, since Brooks is not Todd Geist or Chris Moyer or some bad with 30 years of FileMaker experience, then I would probably keep it simple, as keep them separated in separate tables, right? Is the way I would do it. Even for me personally, I have lots of experience, but I don't spend all day doing this. I shoot videos and answer emails and provide guidance to the team. And so I would keep it separate. But if all I did all day was this one job working on a BOM for some company, I might, I'd have to look at it. It's one of those things you wouldn't know until you got into it a couple months into it. And you're like, wow, intellectually, a single levels is too much for me to handle, right? But the other way, I could see maybe, I don't know, it just kind of interesting. So that's level 1. Then you could select, turn on
enable
related record. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So M7
Mike,
1.
Yeah, like wire or whatever. I don't know. It's all the sub parts that would belong to that wire. Sub part. Yeah. So then if you actually select, that would be another thing. If you select one of these up here, it'd want to reset that, and then also clear that one out, right? So yeah.
Yeah, we would update this to select one. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. So I can double click this. Right now, it's not assigned to a script.
Oh, a single step. What kind of crap is that?
I can convert to a script.
Oh my God! Look what he did.
Select level 1, and then we just put in here level 2.
Yep.
Clear it.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
So now, when I say select this one,
okay,
it cleared out that.
Then you select that. So, and if you select a new one, remember the one down here wouldn't make any sense. We clear it out, right? Yeah, good.
I'm going to call this one part, and then we'll select this sub part. Select that one.
And then sub part, I guess.
Sub part.
There you go.
Yeah, so then you can see the progression there.
Yep.
Now, if we look we can look over here and see this in table view and see how these are all in one table.
Yeah.
And you can see here's the foreign key for the BOM, the foreign key for the level item, and we might add the primary key in here to see that as well. So you can see how these 3 here, the FB7, are related to this one up here, the mic assembly. So this you can see what's going on in the back.
That BOM is
the foreign
key, right? The BOM is the foreign key right there, right? Is that true, Calvin, right there?
Yeah, it is. It is a foreign key.
So I'm going to just clarify on that. And then that one there, if you move it over, is the primary key, right? Go back to that table view real quick again, just show that.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, Calvin, do me a favor and move this one that way. I want those other two side by side. Then it'll still make more sense to people. Okay.
Okay.
This right here, remember we're in levels here. This attaches to the main BOM with that little headphones, right? The little headphones that goes over, little headphones, the music. This is the primary key. If it's uphill, this is downhill one relationship, at least one, and that's the foreign key. So these two are talking to each other constantly, okay? Once again, I would probably put a level number in there so I could understand that, because the keys are kind of, because the keys don't mean anything, right? When you look at these numbers, they don't mean as a new developer. Once again, I really hate that. As a more professional developer, Calvin's thinking about synchronization with MirrorSync and all these other products and things like that. UUID is more useful for a professional senior level developer like Calvin. As a training aid, I prefer it to be 1, 2, 3, and that 3 corresponds to a 3 over here, that kind of thing, right? So once again, UUIDs are the established standard for professionals, but in a training environment, they kind of are harder. Go ahead, Margaret. So what's your question?
It remembers that it's attached to a sub-level by the foreign key, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like that's how the record remembers that it's part of a sub-level and not of the primary level. So what? Does it automatically exclude the record from the top level once it has a foreign key attached to it? Does that make sense?
This is why for newer people, I wouldn't build it the way this is right here. I'd build it the first way where the tables are separate, okay? Calvin, can you go ahead and go back and put levels in there? So, because that's part of the problem here. Even if we hand
Yeah,
put them
so
in a moment, just put them in.
right. So we put the level in. And you would want to script this.
Yes. We'd want to script it. So, and this is just going to be a number that tells you where it's at in the scheme of things, okay? So, and then we could also see it over in the table view all mashed together.
Yeah. So here, let's just go through these.
So then,
this is level 2.
Yeah, those are all 2s. 2, 2, 2. And if you
actually, let's put
put
level up here on the top.
Yeah. And then we can just, I think this will help quite a bit. See, Calvin, this is why when you get all fancy, people's little heads explode. Level 1, level 1, level 1, then select one of those, and let's put some 3s in down here. Select. Oop. And then 2. Oh, he's going back in. Okay, now select. There we go. And those are 3s.
3, 3, 3.
Yep. Do that. Nope. Nope.
Where'd the sub item go? Or we already did that one.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's just now jump back to leave this open, but jump to a table view so we can see the table view. If you want to pop a new window, so we can, oh, there it is. Now we want to put levels on here, please, pretty please, with sugar and spice. And so here you go. And that's not in any sort of sort order there. So within one table, all the level 1s are in there, all the level 2s are in there, all the level 3s are in there. Literally, if I could come up with an analogy, I don't know if people are still confused by this, but it's a single bowl. Here is the bowl, right? It's full of candies from Halloween, right? And so as kids come to your door, they're going to say trick or treat, at least in the United States. And what they're going to want to do is I've even put the bowl out for them, and the kids that know that they have a favorite flavor, I'll let them grab a candy, or sometimes I'll put the candy out and drop it in their bag. But if I leave this bowl around the house, my son, my wife, my daughter, my other daughter, neighbors' kids, whatever, they'll come over and they'll pick out the best candies that they prefer. Like level 3 candy would be maybe a Reese's peanut butter cup. Yes? Or a Hershey Kisses level 2. And so they're all mixed in here in one table, in one bowl, but in a portal, we can pull out just the ones that we want, just the Reese's peanut butter cups, or just the Hershey's Kisses, and maybe some of them are white chocolate. Oh, that's a level 6 or a level 7 or level whatever, right? And you pull out just the ones you want and show them in the portal, but they're all stored in one bowl.
So in this case, in this demo, I guess we did 2 tables. We could even do it in one table. So in some bombs I've done where it was just one.
Loser. Okay, this is like one of those deals where there's been a contest before at Claris for DevCon where people say, I'm going to build an entire CRM. It's going to have one layout and one table and one field with one record. And yes, my friend, you can do that. I don't think it scales very well, but if you have 500 contacts and a couple users, and you are really good with JSON and pulling parts of records apart, things like that, you can do that, right? The question is, does that logically make sense? Is a BOM a completed product the same as a component to a product? And I would say no. I would say that you'd have a completed product table, which is a bill of materials for that, and then a bill of materials for that product would be all the subcomponents, which would be in different levels or line items or whatever you want to call it, right? But yeah, Calvin's right. You could put all this in one table. You put contacts in there too. I've had customers, you give them a CRM and they didn't have a notes field, so they would click on like address to and then put a note. And then the city would be a note from the other day, and the state or zip code or country code would be other notes, and their notes would be spread all over hell. And I mean that seriously.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking in the context of FM starting point. So I built these in the past, but we didn't go more than one level deep. So the BOM was a record in products. We just changed product where you could say that it was a BOM, and then you related to other products that you wanted to include in there.
Oh yeah. You could do it that way too. So you could have, so for example, if you sold, so if I go back to the picture of the headset real quick. So let's talk about this headset. I have this headset. Actually, I have 3 or 4 of these. So the cord wears out right here, right where it goes in here. It gets like yanked around and it breaks. And so I can send the whole thing off to David Clark, or that's not a good example. The ear pad here wears out, right? It gets all crusty and crap, and it kind of pops on and off. So I can service that myself without disassembling and soldering it. So David Clark will sell the whole thing as a product. They will also sell item number 9, which is a cushion, ear cushion, as a separate product that you can buy. Strictly speaking, item 9 is a subcomponent of the whole headset, but it's also a product they sell directly. So the ear cushion could either be a product record and a level record, which means that you have the same item in the database twice in 2 different spots, or you have a way of integrating the components of a product could be either a sub-level or another product itself, right? The rub is that you wouldn't want to put everything. Yeah, you can build it in one table, Kevin. I see what you're saying. The rub is that you'd have like this over here, and you don't want the end user.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that on there.
Buying this. You don't want this in there because, listen, this is user serviceable. You're going to get sued by someone who tries to solder this together and they burn their finger. And then they're going to sue you.
In this case, it wouldn't make sense.
All right. Other questions?
We do have one from, I'm not going to be able to pronounce your name. I'm very sorry.
Dizius. Yes.
What if the same part is level 2 for some element and level 3 for another element?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So realistically,
it's almost like we would want one table that just tracked the individual parts.
Yes, and then the other, and another table of where the occurrence of those parts exists. Yes,
right.
Calvin and I both thinking the same thing, right? Yeah. So I would probably want to have products, which are products that we sell. It's a status. It becomes a status. So back up. Right. So let me build this real quick. I'm going to wave my hands around. Can they see my screen, Margaret? So Calvin, let me just. Calvin keeps we misspell his name sometimes too. It's Clavin or Calvin. Ian referred to him either way. Calvin, all right, so everybody's not blank. So let's just say that we're building a new CRM. And so in this CRM, we're going to have, I'm going to move Calvin. Clavin, you're in the way. All right, so I'm going to have contacts and this and that, the other thing. And then we're going to have invoice, line items. You're going to have projects, and then maybe some tasks. And then you get to this thing called product. So product would be, in my definition here, and this is, my English is probably different than your English if you're English is a second language for you, but a product. And then which I would say is and I can't really say parentheses, but would be, if I could make a note here, I would say, this is something that I sell specifically to a customer. I'd make a note that said that, right? So that's what a product is, okay?
Say products sold
Products
or to sell.
to, okay, with underscores because I don't want to do the space if I don't have to. Create. Then we have
Components?
individual, what would you call them? Individual what?
Components?
Components, parts, pieces,
Parts? I like
stuff.
parts.
We could do-
Stuff. That's very
yeah, stuff is
specific.
better because
I
the
like
problem
stuff.
is it could be all the way down from a screw to a completed headset, right? So so I'm just going to say individual stuff for lack of a better word. Then you would have levels of connection or levels of integration or assembly
BOM
levels.
Assembly
BOM
levels.
Oh, assembly levels, BOM levels, right? I'll
Yeah.
say assembly levels. Okay, now I'll do that. So then what would happen is that absolutely every last screw, completed product, everything would be in here. Everything. And then products to sell would be a subset of assembly levels. So the record would be in both places. And then individual items, like you have a mic. So the microphone in the David Clark headset's a micro Ferret level 7, whatever they call it, microphone. It's using like 8 different headsets. So you'd have it once in products. And the individual stuff would be that microphone type number 7, and if you sell it individually as a spare part, it would also be over here in products to sell, right? But if it's used on 7 different headsets, it'd be in here at least 7 different times in various levels of assembly, right? Does that make sense? So then you say, well, it's no longer a Model 7 microphone, it's a 7A, a 7 alpha microphone because it's been improved because we're better people. We made a better microphone, it's more efficient. Okay, fine. So then you could either create level 7A next to 7, or you could update it. The point is that all these would reference that item over here. So they don't have all the individual specific items. Like it's a level 7. It has 45 milliohm capacitance with a pre-burn stage that, all the technical about a microphone that audio people care about. Okay. I want it to work, but audio people get in there, it'd be like 20 different things about it. It's 2.3 grams. It has capacitance of 3 microfarads, right, which is an imaginary unit I created in college. The professors were very confused. Okay, as in a micro furry ferret, little ferret. Anyway, so it's capacitance. Never mind. It's an engineer joke. So anyway, the point is that the products to sell are the pieces, things that go in boxes, the final things that you sell. Individual stuff is going to be every little piece in there, but it's only in there once. It's unique. Assembly levels could be multiple times that piece is in there because it's being deployed and used in different spots in construction.
And I think one thing we're seeing here is the more complicated something is, the more different ways there is to build it.
Yes, but I think that this has been educational for most of all of us. Working with Calvin, working with another senior engineer helps me bang ideas off. A lot of times, sometimes people want to build their own solution, but you want to get someone else's second opinions, like your doctor, yeah, you got cancer of the arm, we're just going to lop off the top of your torso. You're like, well, maybe losing your head along with the arm is a problem. Can we just lose just the arm? Oh, it's a second opinion. You sure? Yeah, I think so. All right, fine. So getting a second opinion is always a good thing if you're going to invest a lot, right? Calvin is a great person for a second opinion.
I got opinions.
You have opinions. All right.
Woohoo.
Are we about done then for today? Is there any final questions?
We're I'm just enjoying the Discord gifts. Sorry.
All right. Well, that's it for today, everyone. All right, with that in mind, I'm going to let everyone go. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.